Hey, what's going on? How's everyone doing? Just gonna pour myself some water. Whew. So yeah, just made it in under the wire for the daily stream. So yeah, I mean it's like 11:53. I'm about to go to bed. I'm just was doing a lot today and tired, but just didn't want to break the streak. So yeah, no stream in the tank. Again, it's not gonna be a long one. Hey, what's up, B Scott? Hey, Sly. Hey, BX. Yeah, so just a couple minutes before midnight. Yep. What's your opinion about socialism? Yeah, I mean, I'm not fully on board with any. I'm not fully on board with anything until I know how it plans to account for the race problem. But I think socialism is um, or just in general, anti-capitalism and anything with redistributive aspects, I think is really the best thing. The best thing we can deal with because I think capitalism is predatory and is meant to amplify inequality. I don't think it's the great equalizer. So um, yeah. So that's the way that's the way I look at it. But I'm not like one of those super true believers in socialism, not because I don't believe in the idea of redistributive policies or whatever. It's just that a lot of socialists, in practice, the way a lot of them carry it out, ignores a lot of the realities of race. So the general principle of redistribution of wealth and anti-capitalism, I'm totally down with it. But I think the modern doctrines and practices of socialism, I'm not. Also, another thing is I also believe that Black people have to deal with the immediate pragmatic aspects of capitalism in the meantime while waiting for socialism to ever happen, because we don't have a lot of trust funds, we don't have a lot of generational wealth. And I think one problem I have with a lot of socialists, even including Black socialists, is that sometimes they're not very respectful of the pragmatic realities that Black people have to deal with under capitalism sometimes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So uh, anytime a Black person tries to make some money, even though I don't think Black millionaires are going to save us, I understand the need to try to you know take care of yourself and try to build some kind of generational wealth under this. I mean, because the way that the country looks right now, they are just not feeling the idea of giving up capitalism anytime soon. You know. So hey, Hardo, how's it going? Hey, B. Yeah, chaotic goods. Um, yeah, parasocial relationship time, for real. Um, yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. I feel like um, we have two paradigms, and neither of them are really speaking perfectly to Black people. But to the degree that socialists are willing to meet Black people's immediate and long-term needs, I'll hear what they have to say, and same for what a capitalist has to say. But in the long run, I feel like socialism is more viable. I just feel like capitalism is just meant the inequality is a feature, not a bug. Um, Usual house cleaning. Like, comment, share, subscribe. That's the best thing you can do. If you're in the room, just hit like, comment, share, subscribe. It doesn't cost a dime, and it helps us. We're trying to get to 10,000 followers across all platforms. So yeah, so we're about a quarter of the way there. We're 2,600. So maybe 2,700. We're like at uh 2020 on YouTube and almost 700 on Twitch, I believe. I'm going off memory. If I'm off, it's not that I'm trying to exaggerate. I just honestly don't remember. I think it's like 687 on Twitch. If anyone on Twitch wants to correct me, that's fine. But yeah, so we're over 25% of the way there. So yeah, I'm pretty shot. I'm pretty shot. But I wanted to make sure that I got up in here, and I made a promise daily stream. So unless something crazy happens, I'm going to try to make them. Also, patreon.com/champagne sharks. Become a patron for $5 or $10 a month, depending on what your preference is. You got a whole bunch of bonus content. If you do that, access to the voice and Discord chat server, and you get to do our book club and movie club night discussions. Tomorrow's book, we're starting, you can get in on the ground floor. Tomorrow's book is a book called The Image. And if you ever like how I analyze media and politics, that's probably the most influential book as far as forming my method of analyzing media and politics. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to cover that. We're going to do a lot of media analysis in the book club night, political analysis, and how they interact. And that's a major one. It's by Daniel Bernstein. We're going to read 2 chapters at a time, maybe 3, depending on how short the chapters are, and then discuss them. So yeah, if you become a patron, you can listen to it, but also, in addition to listening to it, you can become a participant too by being a patron. You can be one of the people doing it live with us. So yeah, and the other thing is, if you're already a patron, you can switch from monthly to a year and get a 10% discount. So even if you're already a patron, consider going to patreon.com/champagne sharks and getting an annual membership instead of monthly for a 10% discount. The super chat, if you're enjoying the stream, that's a $sign in the chat section on the right. And, we'll put your comment up. PayPal, champagnesharks@gmail.com. Venmo or Cash App is Champagne Sharks. If you want to help us out with the Amazon wish list to help us get equipment for the show and books for guests that we want to invite or topics we want to do, check the description to this or go to champagnesharks.com and you'll see that Amazon wish list stuff. So you can go to the wish list too. We're gonna leave it streaming on the bottom so you can see. And yeah, that's basically that. The media indigena was great. Thank you, man. I really like those guys. They're really, really smart, and they challenged me to think a lot. Media indigena is indigenous American Indian Native American podcast. It's depending on how you feel about which name applies, but yeah, it's a pretty good podcast, and I guessed it on their podcast, and they guessed it on mine. It was pretty good. The one coming out, it's available to patrons now, but it's coming into everybody tomorrow. Is pretty good. It's Relentless Picnic. It's 3 guys from the podcast Relentless Picnic, and we had a good time. We talked about a lot of things, but a lot of people like that one. Definitely check it out. That was a pretty the last couple have been pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. They've been pretty good. Okay, so it's been 9 minutes and we haven't really talked about much yet. So I know someone goes in the comments saying we took too long to get to the point. So let's talk about something real quick so I don't have to hear people complain. One of the things that has been driving me crazy since Biden won is all this fake love that's been foisted on black people. But I mean, that's nothing new. What's been really bothering me is how many black people just are eating it up. Like, we love it so much. The head pats, the love of the head pats is really annoying. Oh yeah, that's the one. We start off talking about the Unabomber manifesto and how the Unabomber manifesto is honestly pretty good. and it's expected to be a lot crazier than it is. And when you read it, it's like a lot of people think that I read the Unabomber Manifesto because so much of what I talk about is in a Unabomber Manifesto. But the secret is I didn't. But I finally did because people were like, yo, T, I think you like the Unabomber Manifesto. And I was like, okay, it seems like a low key diss. And then I read it and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, we actually talk about a lot of this stuff. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that we have a lot of overlap with the Unabomber Manifesto. But I mean, the bombing people stuff was not good. Obviously, I don't think I have to go on the record about saying that. But he had some pretty interesting thoughts about technology and society and stuff. But we go from the Unabomber Manifesto to talking about the anime Naruto to the Ivy League to all this other different stuff, and we go to some weird places. It ties together pretty nicely. But yeah, it's up there now for patrons at patreon.com/champagne shark. But the first half of it's going to be unlocked to everybody, I think, probably tomorrow morning. Hey, Tebby2, how's it going? Yeah. Oh, did not know about this. I'll have to look up. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The Afro Cuban guy. Yeah, you could tell he was an agent. That guy had agent all over him. Yeah, yeah, he definitely. That is too funny. Yeah, I didn't read it in full, but if it's the Afro Cuban guy, he had a long history as a paid informant. Even I think even before the Proud Boys. Representative Malcolm Kenyatta. This is November 2020. Black voters continue to be the conscience of this country. And he's a representative from Pennsylvania. And it's like, why are we supposed to be the conscience of this country? Like, and why is that supposed to be such a good thing? Like, F you, just give us money, give us things, give us health care. I mean, what do we get for like it's supposed to be its own reward? Like, is this so great being your conscience? Like, that's not my job. That's not our job. That's nothing to be proud of. You know, grown people, we need us to be your conscience. And to the black people, like saying this, you're a grown person. You're not these people's parents. You're not their mother, their mammy, their Uncle Remus. Like, I don't even understand why people tweet stuff like that, and then other people get off like, "Yep, we sure are." Yeah, and I was like, "Come on." Um, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff going. I mean, it's gonna keep going on. So it's like people like that. They're not even interested in saving themselves. They just want to get attention and head pats. This is a head pat economy. People just want it's an ecosystem of head pats. We just want pats on the head. That's what civil rights activism is now. Just trying to do tricks, to get head pats, and this trick was like voting, coming out and voting, So oof. Somebody tweeted, wouldn't to perish to get attention for trying to quote unquote save America. Yeah, people aren't even trying to save themselves, but they want to save America. Like and that's kind of the appeal. We'd rather save America than save ourselves. That's what makes us such good mascots. It's all ridiculous, but nothing to be surprised about. Um what else? There's more. I'm just waiting for it to pop up on the screen. Um, something that was interesting, but the account has been suspended. The account I was gonna show. Someone made a good point using a clip from CNN, but um, it's gone now. So moving on to the next example. I want to show this. This is something else that happened after the election. Some white liberal did this, and then some TikTok person. Man, you guys in the comments are on fire today. But somebody put this on TikTok after the election, like in the first week of November, and y'all gotta see this. Tell me if you hear the sound.
I'm a veteran and a former cop, and I live in one of the reddest states in the nation, Oklahoma. And I've got a message for the 96% of black women who organized and stood in line and pushed others to help defeat Donald J. Trump. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart.
Why is she crying? Like, what's wrong with these people? Like, that dramatic music and everything. I just realized we're probably get a copyright strike for that like 10 seconds of music. But yeah, why is she crying, man? That's, oh my god, that's some damn respect. Jeez. I mean, she was ugly crying. It wasn't like you know, the Indian with the environment commercial with the single, tear or whatever. Like, she was ugly crying over this rando white man thanking her for helping him get another white person elected. It was really, really weird. That was just bizarre. The funny thing was, it didn't even end up being 96%. Ended up being a lower amount than that. Black women shifted significantly in the direction of voting for Trump, even though they were still by far the biggest voters for Biden out of everybody. I think they were probably still in the low 90%, but yeah, I mean, that was just really weird. Um, what else? And again, I'm not trying to harp on this guy, but lately he just keeps coming up. I think did he say he was a former cop? I think he might have said he was a former cop. But Ibram Kendi wrote this. If we need someone to get the occupant out of the White House, then I hereby nominate Harriet Tubman for resurrection. Moses will have Trump scampering out onto the south lawn in 1 minute flat. Smiley face. And I was like, what the hell is that? Like, what? Why would you even write that? Like, why would you make Harry Tubman to a Democrat mascot, whatever? Like, I really don't think she really liked either side. I mean, I don't know. It's just stupid to reduce Harry Tubman to just this stupid electoralism. But I mean, that type of performative stuff, it's been working for him, so I can't get too mad at him. I mean, look at um these $10 million donations and these Aspen Institute things and the stuff with getting Netflix deals and stuff like that. So I mean, I can't say it hasn't been working for him, but it's still it's still gross. And then he also put this, which got on my nerves too after the election, where I want the love of black voters right now to transform into the love of black people. And the same thing, like, please see our humanity, please love us type of anti-racism, now about rights, power, mobilization, um, wealth gap, whatever. It's like the politics of being being loved. Like, please love us, anti-racism. I so hate that. Like, I'd rather like a positive program with actual, like, say what you will about Ice Cube, whether you like when a or not. He tried to have like a list of like gets, like, and none of it had to do with being liked or loved. They just want to be able to feed our kids and have our pay our bills and live our lives. That was very cringe to me. I hope it leads to love of, so Oh, I mean, things even started before that, but it's really ramped up with, hands up, don't shoot, and all that stuff. Yeah, that really turned me off. Really, really turned me off. But I mean, there's some more stuff about, but I'm not gonna talk about it now. That's something else on my screen, but it's it's heavy. It's deep enough to be its own episode, so I'm just gonna hold off on that. I'll save that for something else. So let's skip that one. But this is another cringe one I saw. This one became a T-shirt for a day, and I think we have to ban black people from doing T-shirts. I I think I invited him a long time ago, or I was about to, but he did a tweet that really turned me off, and then we all decided that we weren't going to, because the description of his book, like, I really liked it. Well, actually, I'll tell you. I'll show the tweet now. This is the one that I said was going to be its whole episode, but maybe I'll just do it now since you brought up. But this is the one that made us decide. This is the one that made us decide that we weren't going to probably have him on because I thought it was kind of. But it was this people who don't know. There was a study that came out. It was the Chetty study, and it showed that um, in a lot of ways, the effects of racism are hurting black men, black boys, worse than they're hurting um, black women. And it wasn't saying that black women don't suffer from racism or that black women have it easy. It wasn't saying that at all. Hold on to get past this paywall. But it was just saying that this previously thought of idea, it was trying to say that this previously thought of idea that, you know, pushed by intersectionality, that black women have it doubly bad as black men because they're um, women and black, that's actually a little oversimplified, and that you can't just do additive oppression. It was kind of showing that in a lot of ways, black men are uniquely punished in ways worse than black men, so worse than black women. Like you can't just add, hey, this is the price of being a woman. This is the price of being damn. I'm subscribed, but it's not letting me log in. Hold on. So bear with me a second while I figure out why it's not letting me log in. Because I know I'm a subscriber. I should be able to put up the New York Times. Uh, yeah, it's not letting me log in. Oh wait. Okay. I think it is now. Let's see. I think it should work now. And okay, it looks like hopefully I won't speak too soon. This pop up. Okay, so extensive data shows punishing reach of racism for black boys. Black boys raised in America, even in the wealthiest families and living in some of the most well-to-do neighborhoods, still earn in less in adulthood than white boys with similar backgrounds, according to a sweeping new study that traced the lives of millions of children. White boys who grow up rich are likely to stay that way. Black boys raised at the top, however, are more likely to become poor than to stay wealthy in their own adult households. So basically, black boys, even if they start off rich, are more likely to end up poor. So it kind of shows people who start up growing up rich. That's what the left side is, right? And then um, blue represents black men. The yellow represents white men. So the blue and the yellow are all up here growing up rich. And the yellow gets to travel all the way into adulthood. The left is growing up rich in childhood, and the right is staying rich as adults. And as you notice, all these blues fall off, and a lot of them end up as actually poor adults at a much higher rate than white men. So most white boys raised in wealthy families will stay rich upper middle class as adults, but black boys raised in similar rich households will not. Um, Even when children grow up next to each other with parents who earn similar incomes, black boys fare worse than white boys in 99% of America. And those gaps only worsen in the kind of neighborhoods that promise low poverty and good schools. So black men constantly earn less than white men, regardless of whether they're raised rich or poor. That's this graph here. No such, but this is the interesting part. No such income gap exists between black and white women raised in similar households. So basically, black women track the results of white women um, in a way that who are in the same socioeconomic class, not white women in general, but like if a woman grows up rich, she's tends to be as likely to stay rich as a white woman who grows up rich. So that gap, the left is a gap between black men and white men when it comes to staying rich. Starting at the same level as the white counterpart, but with the black women, no such income gap exists. So um, you would have thought that at some point you could escape the poverty trap. But black boys, even rich black boys, can seemingly never assume that they're going to escape the poverty trap, right? But what's interesting is David Gresby says you have to explain why these abilities aren't handicapping women. So for some reason, and Ibram Kendi is quoted in this article uh, very very quickly, but I want to go more into the thing about women. For poor children, the pattern is reversed. Most poor black boys will remain poor as adults, but white boys raised in poor families fare far better. So now this is white and black people growing up poor. The white people are the yellow squares, the black people are the blue squares. Now notice the blue tends to travel straight across into poverty, but look at all the yellow rising into richness and how little the blue gets to rise into richness. So it's the same pattern in reverse, right? So yeah, it's pretty interesting, but other studies show that boys across races are more sensitive than girls to disadvantages like growing up in poverty or facing discrimination. While black women also face negative effects of racism, black men often experience racial discrimination differently. As early as preschool, they are more likely to be disciplined in school. They are pulled over or detained and searched by police officers more often. And then this quote from a woman appears, Noelle Hurd. It's not just being black, but being male that has been hyper stereotyped in this negative way, in which we've made black men scary, intimidating, with a propensity toward violence. She said this racist stereotype particularly hurts black men economically. Now that service sector jobs requiring interaction with customers have replaced the manufacturing jobs that previously employed men with less education. So it says it's not just being black, but also being black and male that is extra negative stereotype and extra punished by white supremacy, right? Um, so it has a lot of interesting things that kind of surprise people about what people assumed about about intersectionality and the idea that having that being black and a woman was automatically the worst thing that could happen to you. But it also challenges the idea of black male privilege. If all this stuff, if all this stuff is true, so um, so black women were there was a lot of surprising findings for black women that really they weren't expecting to see. But this is what ended up happening. So you might wonder, what does this have to do with Ibram Kendi and why we kind of felt weird about having him on the show? Because, well, when this thing came out, a bunch of intersectional people got really upset at the study. Not upset, of course, because, wow, things are worse than for black men than we thought. Damn, that sucks. It was like, oh, this is an attack on black women and intersectionality because you're saying that this is black male privilege. They were saying it was black male privilege. They're being censored again. They didn't, so they were, I don't know, trying to say that they weren't even really trying to argue the information was wrong, but somehow they didn't really talk about whether it's right or wrong. No one tried to disprove it, but they just tried to say, don't look at that study, or that study is misogynoir, that study is anti-black women, or that study is an example of black men. It's always about them. They always get censored in everything. Yeah, so all this stuff. And yeah, a lot of them got really upset. Very few of them were willing to say, oh, wow, maybe we need to reevaluate this and black men need help. They took it as an attack on black women, and somehow it's black male privilege to, you know, lack social mobility, or they took it as, oh, they're gonna use this to ignore black women and all this stuff, and no one wanted to really address it on its merits, or really, you know, and this is even Kendi got on his soapbox, and this is the first time um yeah, they made a good Mr. K made a good Mr. Chaotic Goods made a good point, but this is what Ibram Kendi put up, and Chaotic Goods made a good point here. He says, like, how I don't like how theory isn't treated as something to be studied, improved upon, or discarded if it doesn't reflect reality. That isn't a theory; it's a religion. Yeah, it is a religion. Like the additive theory of intersectionality and the idea that you can just add up oppressions like math is pretty much treated like a religion. It's not even something that even most intersectional people even believe anymore, but the pop intersectional people in the media do. Yeah, so it's become like a cult. But this is what even Kendi did in response to this. He attacked it like a lot of other people did, because and he was quoting the study, so he wanted to distance himself from this. He was quoting the New York Times article, not the original study, but he wanted to distance himself, like, to make sure that people knew he's on the right side of throwing black men under the bus. So he said, FYI, I told New York Times and wasn't quoted when asked about differences in racial disparities between boys and girls, that if those differences are true, then we must not falsely generalize it to mean black boys have it worse than black girls. We should not focus our anti-racist policies on black boys and yet again neglect black girls on the basis of racist ideas that black girls are strong and black boys are weak. The article said nothing about that. The article just gave the data about, in a particular context, that black boys face worse, strictly about economic mobility. It didn't say black women didn't face racism. It didn't say that black boys are weak and black women are strong. Um, he goes, we must not let this study become the new Moynihan report. Like, how is that the Moynihan report? How was pointing out that things aren't cake for black men, that black male privilege or black patriarchy does not really exist. There are no tangible benefits being accorded black men for being male. If anything, being male is being treated unlike how it is for white people. Being male is being treated as an extra penalty for black men. Maleness in a black body is actually a penalty, not a privilege, as opposed to how maleness operates in a white body. How is that the Moynihan report? Like, it doesn't even make sense. But by framing it like that, he's demonizing it out the gate and giving excuses not to focus on anything affecting black men. Like, he's treating it as if he's lending legitimacy to the idea that saying black men need any help at all, or black men have any vulnerability or weakness, is verboten. That really turned me off. And when I saw that, I'm like, this guy he's playing the game. He knows that this is the game you have to play now, and this is the game you have to play now, and I'm gonna play it, and I'm virtue signaling. I'm showing that I'm on the black man or trash bandwagon. I'm on the intersectional bandwagon. So after that, we never followed up on having him on. I was kind of really turned off after that. But that was like years ago. That's 2018, and then since then, the way he's moved has been very. The way he moved has been very consistent. Like, with the seeds that he was dropping at that time, like, they've taken root, and it's worked out pretty good for him. So I mean, it was a good bargain. It was a good trade off. The cost benefit analysis worked out. Look at this. A lot of black blue checks were really cheering this after the election. The black vote in Detroit is the highest it's ever been, and we will determine the outcome because we've gone from picking cotton to picking presidents. And this guy is quoting that like it's a cool thing. And this is what it actually is. Let me know if you hear the sound.
We are in the process of wanting to get all the votes counted. The road to victory of any side is going to come through Michigan and through Detroit. And to stop the vote suggests to stop the very democracy that we are running and these persons are running to elect to uphold. And so we want every vote to count because our vote is our voice, and it will be counted. And the election process will be done. Things are secure on the inside, but of course we have intimidating efforts on the outside, but we're not deterred. As goes Detroit, will go Michigan, and Michigan will join the force of others to be able to say that we have voted. We have record turnout voting. And again, if you want to represent Michigan and Detroit, you ought to want every vote counted.
That's not bad so far.
Well, these are persons who are passionate and they're consistent. They've been saying all along they're going to suggest that it's rigged. They've been saying all along it's going to suggest that it's flawed or fake. But they've been saying that before now. We just need to be persistent to make sure our voice gets counted, because as goes Detroit will be done so. And I will say the black vote in Detroit is highest than it's ever been, and we will determine the outcome because we've gone from picking cotton to picking presidents.
I mean, first off, that's silly because black people have been picking presidents for like a while, because there's a lot of presidents for the Democratic Party that would not have made it with the black vote. This is not anything new. So stop acting like this is something new, like that you haven't gotten past having the right to vote. You've had the right to vote for a long time, and you've been decisive in a lot of elections by now. Like just stop it. Like, at this point, you need to evolve past something else. Like, instead of talking about, we went from picking cotton to picking presidents, talk about what you've started getting in exchange for the black vote. You know what I mean? Like, the novelty of being decisive and picking presidents, it's not anything new. It's the silliest thing. Like, you still receive nothing from picking cotton or from voting. That's the one thing they have in common. Like, haven't got reparations for picking cotton and haven't gotten reparations from voting. So it's like, it's really ridiculous. And then the day later, some Wakandans started making T-shirts for picking president. They made T-shirts and caps with "Gone from picking presidents to picking cotton" on them. They made it into a T-shirt and started selling them, and also all over Twitter. It was, so I'm gonna show you this. But yeah, I really cringed when you said that on camera, and of course with the usual suspects, it really resonated. So you can look right here, and you guys were able to hear that, right? So if you search picking presidents or picking cotton, it was all over Twitter, like Bishop Talbot Swain, Trump and his racist followers are furious that black folks have gone from picking cotton to picking president. Oh, picking cotton to picking president, and people putting up John Lewis dancing, and everyone's just tweeting, "Woo! We as black people have gone from picking cotton to picking presidents. My lord, woo!" Everyone's picking cotton to picking presidents, picking cotton to pick. Look how often it appears. From picking cotton to picking presidents has been stuck in my head all week. And then people put it in Joy Reid's mentions. Yep, it's because we've gone from picking cotton to picking presidents, and they don't like it. You've always been. That's why they've had voter suppression for so long, all these decades. They know you can have a voice in picking presidents. Like, you've had this since the 1800s. And then Dr. Jason Johnson um, says from picking cotton to picking presidents resonated in the black community more than almost anything else this week. I don't know any black people that were talking about that.
Questions.
Biden
was very smart in shouting out, I got a whole bunch of friends that I didn't have last year, blah, blah, blah. I gave them credit, bang down on the table, support black women, et cetera, et cetera. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
Wakandans are part of the reason white supremacists involved in
even when I look
brotherhoods.
at these numbers, Ari, I still have questions. The political scientist in me has questions. I looked at the Emerson exit polls. I looked at the New York Times Emerson polls, exit polls, and I still have doubts that Trump could have improved the way he did in so many different communities, given the large number of African Americans in particular.
MSNBC is horrible. Like, there's like
drop off,
no analysis.
I don't know if we're necessarily
voters of color.
Indicator of Trump support. But the fact of the matter is, Joe Biden still got the majority of black votes and seems like he's in a position to keep that coalition together going forward.
And the voters of color thing is such crap because really, a lot of the other non-black people of color were pretty down the middle. This is really black people. Let's be real.
The black vote in Detroit is highest than it's ever been, and we will determine the outcome because we've gone from picking cotton to picking presidents.
So out of everything he said, that's the only thing that they put in this clip. That's the only thing that's noteworthy to them. He had this whole kind of long speech about all this analysis that he was doing about, so goes Detroit, so goes Michigan. He tried to sound as smart as hell. All they picked was the mascot part. That's the problem with this stuff. That's all they see you as. Out of everything he said, a 2-minute. That's the reason why I played the full thing. In case you're wondering, why are you playing the full thing? Why didn't you just play the picking cotton? Because I wanted to show that this is all they reduced him to. They didn't show anything else he said.
From picking cotton to picking presidents is the best T-shirt, the best slogan for anybody. Look, that resonated in the black community more than almost anything else throughout this week. But
if that's true, that's sad. I don't know anyone who.
Ari, I think what's important to remember about this is,
zero analysis. I mean, God help anyone who gets their analysis from MSNBC. You will end up dumber than you started, for sure. There's no hope for you. But yeah, that was the funniest thing. They just reduced him to that. After all he said, he thought he was really impressing people. What a good civic duty he was doing. I wanted to show the T-shirts, but the T-shirts are gone. This is where the tweet is unavailable. That was a tweet that had the picking cotton to picking presidents shirt. Let me see if I can find it somewhere else. But they made T-shirts and so if you look, I'll show it here. I had it on Twitter, but you could check it out here. We've gone from picking cottons to picking presidents. And they made, that wasn't the only one. There was a lot. I'll show the other ones. So check out all these, from picking cotton to picking president shirts, that were made by people. They made a ton of them, different fonts, different. I like they put this one on a white guy. Yeah, they put Detroit proverb. That's so corny. They added Detroit proverb to it. They made pillows out of it. So there was a guy from picking cotton to picking president's pillow. You can see that here. Yeah, so I don't know. We have 4 years of this nonsense. I mean, everyone's going right back to sleep, basically, after this Biden win. Everyone's going right back to sleep. It's racism's over. 3 more interesting reactions that I thought were interesting. That said it all. Melissa Harris Perry wrote this weird thing. Yeah, I think it should be illegal. I think we have to start. I think we have to start. That shirt really should have been, I voted for the author of the crime bill. All I got was this stupid shirt. Not even that, because you had to pay for the shirt. So you didn't even get that. That shirt was even given to you for free. So yeah. Melissa Harris Perry wrote this cringe right after the election. I'd like to see Joe Biden wash Stacey Abrams' feet with his tears and dry them with his hair. First off, he doesn't have enough hair for that. But she actually wrote that, and everybody just started making fun of her. I like that this is the first tweet you see, like people are like, huh? Yeah, so I mean, they want to be loved and appreciated by Mr. Crime Bill and white Democrats in general so badly. That was a really weird tweet by Melissa Harris Perry. I think retirement's not agreeing with her or whatever. I don't know, but that was, she really lost the plot with that one. Two more. I'm telling you, Wakandans are the worst. This Wakandan wrote, to hear Joe Biden acknowledge the African American community, and yes, he touched on everyone in his celebration speech on this stage, in this moment, and then to immediately get into the plans to get COVID under wraps, which is funny because since then he said, just the other week, yeah, you know what, you're just gonna have to run its course. We can't do anything after all. Now that he won, he basically said, yeah, we can't do anything. Be happy with your $1,400 check. And it goes, and then naming scientists Monday, yeah, this feels good. He shows like Will Smith like holding back, crying. It's like, you're that happy to be acknowledged in a speech. Like, he hasn't even promised you anything yet. And with these executive orders, the only thing he's talked about is getting Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill, which, as a lot of people pointed out, she wouldn't even care about that, But yeah. So I mean, they're putting things of themselves, crying and being like, I feel seen, and then this is the last one. Imagine being a sweatshop in Cambodia having to screen print those shirts for a living. Maybe she is doing this because she feels like that's her way of getting back onto MSNBC. I don't know. Yeah, this is the worst timeline, man. This is really the worst timeline. Here's the last one. I'm gonna put you out of the pain pretty quickly. And as usual, if you want to support the show, hit us in any of the ways in the bottom. Patreon.com/Champagne Sharks, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. But somebody tweeted this. This man said, shout out to black people. You had my back. I got yours. I couldn't help but feel glad and seen. Like, oh my God. Black people act like promises are food. Like you can get calories off of them. Uh, or head pats. That head pats have nutritional value, you know? And then people are like, I clapped so hard when he said that. The dues are so long overdue. And this is gonna be the same person that when you complain later that he hasn't given any tangibles, he'll be the same person that'll be like, rah, 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 rah. It'd be like an attack dog for Biden. Like, how dare you ask for things, you know? Yeah, but the worst timeline indeed. But yeah, head pats, head pats, head pats. That's we have 4 years of head pats. Good boy, good boy. Um so yeah, thanks for joining us. It's been a fun one. Yeah, representation with the side of beans or rice. Yeah, basically. Okay, everyone, be good. Take care. Thanks for being here, and thanks for your continued support. And follow, like, share, subscribe. If you haven't shared us with your friends and family, please do. Check out the main podcast too. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, check it out. Champagne Sharks, because our last couple of podcasts have been pretty good. We talk about topical stuff here, but we try to do the big idea stuff on the podcast. And the last podcast has a lot of big idea stuff. So check it out. All right. Be good, guys. Take care.